Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello and welcome to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where two sisters talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
So today we are talking about, and just like that, we're on season 2, episode 9, There Goes the Neighborhood. And again, this show is just doing great. It's found its stride.
Yes, but I don't know. I feel that I maybe last week I got too excited. I got too excited about Aiden and Carrie, and I feel like I didn't. If I was Carrie's therapist, I feel like maybe I should have, not so much that I wanted to rain on her parade, but I do think the fact that they are not addressing this giant elephant in the room, this apartment, and it's got nothing to do with the apartment, even if she sells the apartment, which this episode is very much about this apartment situation and buying this new apartment and selling this old apartment, that this is a problem. I mean,
but they resolve it.
But I don't know. Is it resolved?
Is the apartment a symbol?
Yes.
For the fact that they really haven't solved their underlying issues, that they're just like, oh my God, we're in love.
Yes.
We're in lust, whatever.
And will all of the issues of why they didn't work out the first time, second time, all of these things come rearing back? And it's been interesting to hear everybody's take, because I was at this event earlier today and I was chatting with this woman, and she was just pissed because she was like, I couldn't believe that. Well, I was so upset when she heard that line was a big mistake, because she felt very angry because she was a big fan, right? People are very
divided.
Yes, people are divided. There's big fans and there's Aiden fans. So Aiden fans are very happy and big fans are upset. And there are a lot of people that feel like, well, what have we been doing here for the last 25 years where this entire show and all of these movies have been leading us towards this great love, and you've been pushing us in this direction.
But he died. He died. And I always thought that they killed him off because the show doesn't really work if Carrie's not dating.
Yeah, and you're right.
But now
because Sex and the City, the movies didn't work. I don't think the movies ever worked. Personally.
Yeah, well, the first one I thought was okay.
I don't think the first one worked.
The second one was just bloody awful.
The first one didn't work because the first one was an extension of the same crap she went through throughout the entire. It was just Sex in the City. It was a Sex in the City episode on steroids.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, now bringing Aiden back. Now she's not dating, so I don't know. This is. I mean. You know, our nation is divided over many issues. This is just one of them.
One of the many issues that we're divided on. And I don't know where this, I mean, I was with you and I thought when the show came back, I thought it made a lot of sense for them to kill off Big because, yes, the show was about dating and relationships and asking these questions. And the show has always been about dating and relationships. And then all last season, it was like, oh, God, okay, yes, she has to mourn, but, oh, can we move this along a little bit? And then when this season started and we saw her with the radio producer, the podcast producer, we thought, okay, great, things are moving along. And then Aiden was this nice surprise. But again, I also thought, okay, she's going to, this is going to be another person that she dates. We're going to see her dating. And again, we're like, oh, so she's going to get in a relationship with this person? Like, what? I just don't know where these writers are taking us.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
Yes.
Nobody knows. But this episode, I was disappointed. I thought we were going to get to go to Virginia.
Oh.
I thought the episode would be Carrie in Virginia. But no, it's Aiden returning from Virginia, returning to the apartment. And shortly after he comes in, they get served with an eviction notice.
Because he is just too nice and chatty downstairs.
Yeah, everyone's figured out that they're basically squatters. And
now, is he wearing that same jacket that you hate? Was he wearing the jacket that everyone hates? Everyone hates that jacket.
It looked like he was wearing it, but without the belt, maybe.
Because everyone hates that. You and everyone else hates that jacket.
No one likes that jacket. Yeah. Patricia Fields would never have put Aiden in that jacket. Like, gosh, I hope they bring her back.
Or those tidy whities.
Yeah.
That was disturbing,
that
too.
That was interesting.
Oy.
But, I looked up how old... He's 62 years old.
Yeah, no, he looks... Listen, he's a cutie. He was a cutie young when he was cutie now, but the tidy whities have got to go.
That was unnecessary.
That was really gross. No one needs to see that.
Yeah. So, yeah, they get evicted, and then his... before... that happens, his son Wyatt FaceTimes him and wanted to make sure he got home, got to New York okay, I guess. And Wyatt seems very anxious and a little bit neurotic. Most 14-year-olds don't care if their parents get home safe or
get anywhere safely.
Yeah, they don't, out of sight, out of mind. And he doesn't really want to talk to Carrie, which is not surprising. I thought that's pretty
normal.
Yeah, what? He's met her once. What, did he spend a couple days with her? I don't know.
Well, and also, listen, we're children of divorce.
Yes.
I mean, this
nobody
is a very
likes
tough.
that.
This is a tough situation, and his parents have been divorced. What, 5 years now, and so that made him 9 when they got divorced, and 5.5 years or whatever it was, 8, 9, and now his parents are both dating. It's like, this sucks.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Wyatt.
Yeah. No, Wyatt. What justice for Wyatt?
Yes.
Let's see what else happens.
In Carrie's storyline, they go and they have dinner with Seema.
Yeah.
And Ravi. And of course, Aiden. I don't know if we want to get into Seema. Well, if it makes sense to get into Seema's storyline because.
Yeah, because at first, we haven't even gotten to she and. We can just interject this here, I guess. So, yeah, she's taking Ravi to look for apartments. He's rejected every one of them. And there's a cameo here by Ryan Serhant.
Do you watch $1 Million Listing?
I really don't, but I believe he's on $1 Million Listing New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that guy Frederick.
Yeah, I don't watch any of the $1 Million Listing, LA, New York, Miami. I tried to watch the San Francisco one here. But it was really lame, and one of the guys lived in Hayward, and it's
that's not very glamorous.
That's not very glamorous. Just if you live here in the San Francisco Bay Area, Hayward is not.
That's not what you think of when you think of San Francisco. That's for sure.
Yes.
But so they're in this luxury apartment.
Okay. I'm sorry. Do you think that Ravi and Seema have any chemistry?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
That guy,
They're together.
He's always on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard him really say 2 words to Seema.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time he's ever talked directly to her. No.
Yeah. There's no setup. There was no
sexual tension.
No sexual
nothing.
tension. No setup. No nothing. No funny bits. Like, could we have a scene or two of, funny something, you saying something at least funny or clever or interesting so that we could kind of sort of like you? So far, we've seen you being kind of gross and you have nothing. Yeah. So there's no other actors. There's nobody else in this world that you could get than this guy. It was awful.
Yeah.
I was just like, ugh.
They have no chemistry, but yet despite that, she says, what is wrong? What is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you like anything? And he says something like, is this the best apartment in New York? And she's like, no, I showed you that one 3 weeks ago and you turned it down. And he's like, well, if I had taken it, then I wouldn't have gotten to spend all this time with you. And then he kisses her. And it's just like, I don't believe that.
No. And I think that Seema would have been like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Why are you wasting my time?
Yeah, you've wasted 3 weeks of my time. You could have taken the really good apartment that was really good and then asked me out like a normal person.
Right.
Versus this whole rigmarole. But instead, they end up in bed at
having
this place.
sex in the
and so he has to take
apartment.
that apartment. And and then Ryan comes back, and then there's this joke where she has to get dressed really quickly and run downstairs, and Ryan's like, "Oh, we do anything for a sale." Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, she's inviting him to have dinner with her good friend or whatever, and that was weird too. I don't know. I don't.
This whole thing is very strange.
I hope that doesn't go anywhere, but
I feel like it is.
But the interesting thing that she said was she was complaining about how, he's just kind of this smarmy director. All these actresses are DMing him and blah, 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 blah. And she says, but he's not even marriage material. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was weird because, like, well, who said anything about marriage? Like, that was weird for her to say. I mean, I guess this marriage thing, this coupling thing is more important to her than she lets on.
Yeah, well, but I always feel like that's important to her. I always feel like that's her number one focus, isn't it? Always,
yeah,
like
I guess,
finding the great love.
Well, because she broke up with that guy, the last guy, because he still lived with his wife, and she said something about him not being marriage material. Mm-hmm. So this whole marriage material thing she said a couple times, and I think that has something to do with, I really think it has something to do with the Indian family and getting their approval. Like, she has to find someone, maybe she feels like she has to get married to satisfy them, and she has to find someone that they're going to approve of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
I don't know what's going on. This whole thing is so weird. I don't know what they're doing with her at all.
Me neither.
Yeah. But anyway, she shows up with this guy to dinner with Carrie and Aiden. And of course, this guy turns out to be the director of a movie that Aiden loves. Mm-hmm. Aiden and his boys love. What was the name of the movie?
I don't know, but isn't it a Marvel movie?
But he's there to direct a Marvel movie. Oh. But the movie that he directed that Aiden and his boys
Nepal
and Nepal? I don't know. Nepal and Nepal.
I don't even know if that's a real thing.
No.
Or it's made
but
up.
I don't think so. But those two words together, Nepal, whatever it is. So Aiden's like, falling all over him. Mm-hmm. So
Aiden likes him.
Aiden's in love with him. So Aiden thinks he's marriage material.
Aiden likes everybody.
Yeah.
He's not very discerning. He's really not. He's like a puppy dog.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's just happy to see you. He just wants to talk to you, get some attention.
Yeah, he is. Like a big golden retriever.
Yeah. So so when does Carrie... so
it's in the bathroom that she tells Seema, like, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to look at apartments.
Because I think what happened was Yeah, she was like, well, where are we going to go? We're evicted from Che's. And she kind of brings up, well, we could go back to her apartment. And he's like, no, absolutely not. So now she has to decide what. Yeah. And so she tells Seema that she thinks she might be ready to sell her apartment and get a new apartment.
Yes. So, and then it looks like she found this amazing apartment. I love how money is no object. Like, she doesn't even need to sell her other apartment to be able to afford this 4-bedroom, 3-bath with stairs, 2 floors, Gramercy Park apartment. And she's showing it to Miranda and Charlotte. I mean, this amazing apartment. I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think did she say how many square feet it is? It's gorgeous.
She said it was 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Yeah. But in New York City, I mean, I can't imagine how much that costs. But it's 2 floors.
Yeah.
In New York.
It's probably 10 million or
plus.
more.
I mean, 15. Yeah. But all this light, I mean, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. And of course, Charlotte and Miranda love it. Miranda doesn't have any, no skepticism from Miranda here.
No. So, and then she tells them that she's going to sell her apartment, that it's time to sell her apartment. And while they're there, she gets a call from Kathy, Aiden's ex, about meeting her for coffee. So now she's got to go do that. And she's like, uh-oh, what's this going to be?
Yeah.
So, and then in terms of Carrie's storyline, I mean, we see Carrie later on at the big event at Charlotte and Harry's, but if we just stick with Carrie's storyline, the next scene is meeting Kathy.
It's meeting Kathy, yeah. And this actress, I don't know where I read this, but
Rosemary DeWitt is married to Ron.
Yeah, she's married to Ron Livingston Berger, who Tess knows.
Oh, this weird.
He was at her wedding.
Yes, he was. Ron Livingston. Yeah. I know Ron Livingston, as bizarre as that is. Yeah, that's the big. I didn't think anyone would make this little connection, but I guess the whole world knows this connection. So Ron Livingston who played Berger, is married to, in real life, Rosemary DeWitt, who plays Kathy. But before he was married to Rosemary DeWitt, he was engaged for a long, long time. They were together, I want to say, over a decade, to a very good friend of mine who has since passed away, Lisa Sheridan, who's an actress. And Lisa was a really good friend of mine for a long, long time. And and of course, Lisa came to my wedding, and Ron was her date. And I know Ron, I have not spoken to Ron in a long, long time, because Lisa, when they broke up, Lisa was my friend. I'm not going to be the jerk and be like, well, Ron's more famous. So I'm going to dump you and go with Ron. Yeah. But the funniest thing about it was that, people were so perplexed by his appearance there, because Lisa was really, Lisa's my friend. And so I'm not going to walk around going, oh, yeah, well, she has a famous, because I worked in Hollywood and I have these weird Hollywood relationship connections. And so people were so like, what is he doing here? Yeah. And so my friends would walk up to me and be like, congratulations. Oh my God, you got married. How do you know Berger from Sex and the City? What? How is he here? And so that was this thing that people kept, how do you know him? What is happening here? Like, how, what? And like, people could not figure out, like, they were kept trying to piece together, how do you know this person? But
this was at the height of the Sex and the City.
Yeah, because I got married in 2003, and he had just played Berger. And, I feel for Ron, because I just want to say just some backstory about this, is that from what I remember, because I know a lot about what was going on at the time, and from talking to Lisa about everything that was going on, that the character of Berger was described and pitched to Ron very differently than how he turned out to be. So they did not go to Ron and say, your character is going to have sexual problems and be kind of a jerk and break up with her on a Post-it. And do you know what I mean? They did not go to him and say, they went to him and they pitched it to him like he was supposed to be sort of the big love of her life. They were going to go with that that thing. Like, this role was pitched very differently to him. And I think they really...
because then everyone hated him.
Yeah, and I feel for him. Like, it was not his fault at all. Like, and I always felt for him in that sense. And so I'm glad he's gotten some distance from that role but Ron's a really good guy. You know, Ron went to Yale. I don't think people know that. He's an incredibly smart person. And he and Rosemary, they have kids now. And so I'm happy for him. Yeah. And I think that he, you know, when Lisa passed away, I think it was obviously very devastating, even though they were broken up. It was devastating for all of us. It's very devastating obviously for Ron. And it was a tragedy of what happened to her.
Yeah.
So, and it's, you know, it's just hard. It's hard all around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. Everything's full circle.
Yeah. So the talk with, wait, now I can't remember her real name, her name on the show. Kathy. So Kathy basically says, you know, I know that you're a writer and you write about your real life, and just want to ask you to please not write about my kids.
Which is very reasonable.
Reasonable request. And then she basically says, and another thing, I know your history with Aiden, and, you know, please be mindful that if you hurt him again, it's not just hurting him, you're hurting his kids. And Carrie kind of said, she gave her a little bit of pushback and said, yeah, I'm intimately familiar with our history or something, but I understand. And then she got up to go get a coffee.
Yeah. I mean, I did listen to the writer's room, and they said that that's sort of like collectively the audience, maybe, or maybe I was listening to something else. No, I think it was the writer's room where they said in many ways that's sort of the audience saying,
yeah, you're going to hurt. Yeah, don't do this again.
Don't do this again. And I think everyone collectively knows that there's no way Carrie can do this to him. Like, I think people would kill her, you know.
But it could happen. Look, there's nothing that's off limits. I think it could happen. It
could. And so this sort of leads us into this next scene where she then takes Aiden to the apartment and shows him the apartment, and, you know, sort of telling him about this, you know, showing him this new big beautiful apartment, and then tells him about selling his old place, her old place. Yeah. And he says, you know, this really needs to be your decision. I don't need for you to do this. You know, it's more of like, I don't want to go in there, but I don't need for you to do this for me. And she's like saying, well, no. And then she tells him about the conversation with Kathy, and he's mad. And I think that what he says in that moment of, well, we are going to hurt each other. You know, you are going to hurt me again. And I, you know, I will say I do appreciate that. And he is right. And I'm glad they put that in there, because at some point she can't be a saint. You know, right. she is going to.
Nobody is. Yeah. No, but everybody hurts people, gets hurt. And I thought it was a very mature, you know, these are very different people.
Yes.
They're like 20, 25 years older, whatever it is. Even Carrie is growing up, you know, and she's listening to this and taking it in, and, you know, not being defensive about stuff. So they have both matured a lot, and I thought it was a mature conversation. He's not like, yeah, you got to get rid of that apartment.
Well, and really on the bigger picture, right, which is if he and Carrie had gotten together, there would be no Wyatt, no Tate, right? Like, there is some larger purpose of the fact that in many ways she did need to pursue big and go down this road. And he wanted a family.
Right.
He wanted, you know, Kathy.
He wanted to get married.
He wanted to get married and have children and live in this farmhouse. This is the life that he wanted. And he had that, and he got that, and that this works for him. So this might be a better life for them at this point for them.
Yeah.
And so this is the other part of it too, is that there are people that are right for us in the moment. So Aiden, the big thing that was always the big argument with Aiden was, oh, Aiden's not right for Carrie. And it's like, well, he wasn't right for 30-some-odd-year-old Carrie.
Right.
But he might be right for 56, 57-year-old Carrie. And this particular situation of 1 week on, 1 week off.
Right. Yeah.
And this Carrie, it might work.
And I think, you know, the apartment, I think it's time to get rid of the apartment.
Yeah, it might be.
I really do.
Time.
It's kind of like, why do you have it? And it's basically, I don't know. I think it kind of needs to go. It kind of needs to go.
Yeah. And maybe, why are you holding on to it?
Yeah, and especially holding on to it when you know that, Aiden's never going to go there, and it has all these bad or vibes about it.
Or represents a time of a person that you aren't anymore.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
time to sell.
God, the two of them have both got so much goddamn money. So anyway, but that's Carrie and that's Seema. So who should we move on to now?
Let's see. So what about okay, so Miranda.
Well, there's Miranda and then there's Miranda and Charlotte.
It starts out okay, so Miranda starts out she's walking down the street with Brady and he's, working at Scout and he's
making fries.
Perfectly content doing that. And of course, Miranda's trying to push him to do something else. And she says, "Oh, don't you want to go on this summer program to Costa Rica and you can learn to surf and get college credit and blah, blah, blah." And he's just like, no.
I mean, she's really working it hard, too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that does not even sound like Miranda, but I was like, woo, she's really trying. Like, surf and then you could take some college courses. I mean, she's working it.
Yeah.
True.
And she can't let go. I mean, her and Charlotte both. I mean, they have both spent their lives, pouring them into everything into these kids and so they can have the best education and go to college and this and that. And so I understand she does not know what to do about it or what to do with herself because she can't force anyone to go to college. So she decides to call Charlotte and ask Charlotte if Lily could, I don't know, go talk to him or, have some positive... Inspire him because she's such a good student and she's so whatever. And so Charlotte says, "Oh, yes, of course." And she sends her over there to Brooklyn, I guess. And then meanwhile, Miranda is still sleeping at Naya's place.
Yes. And Naya, it's really, I mean, at first I was like, well, thank God they're giving Naya something to do.
She's getting banged by this young blonde
Yeah, he was kind of gross looking, but I was just like, at least she's having a good time.
He was sort of a wannabe kind of surfer looking.
Fabio.
Yeah.
Looking,
but his body was okay, but
I think what's so funny about that is, and you see this a lot in movies and TV where, people that have been married for a long, long time, when they discovered the world of Tinder, of like, oh, I can just have sex anytime I want. Like, ooh, Tinder.
You don't even have to go out.
Yeah, I don't even have to go out and I don't have to make conversation with you. And this is so easy. And she's, banging this guy all over the place.
Yeah, all night long.
All night long. Poor Miranda.
Miranda is, hearing it all.
Yeah.
Even though she's supposed to be in the soundproof room.
Yeah, that's right. That is supposed to be a soundproof room. It's a studio.
Yeah, not very good soundproofing.
No. And then but there's a shower, but the bathroom, there's only one bathroom.
There's one bathroom and you have to walk through Naya's bedroom to get to it. So Miranda has to pee and she can't get into the bathroom.
So she has to go back to her house. And of course, that's when she runs into Lily. I hate how they all call each other like Aunt Miranda, Aunt Carrie, Aunt this, Aunt that. It's so weird. Like, why would you call your parents' best friends Aunt this, Aunt that? I find that very irritating.
Charlotte told her to say it when she was, young and it just stuck. But yeah, so Lily's walking out of Brady's bedroom.
Pantsless.
No pants, just a t-shirt on. It was very awkward.
Yes. So now the big quest has happened where Miranda and Charlotte have to figure out if Brady and Lily slept together.
Yeah, and what's going on between them?
Yes.
And they're saying, well, maybe because Miranda calls Charlotte and says, "Did you know that she spent the night here?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it got late." And so she said she's going to sleep on the couch.
Charlotte.
Yeah. So yeah, they're on a mission
Yeah.
to find out what the relationship is.
Well,
here.
the best is Charlotte and her reasoning of like how she got, oh, well, maybe they were just talking late and then she just they were talking so much and then she just kind of snuggled and fell asleep there. And then, in the middle of the night, her pants fell off.
Miranda says, at what point did her pants come off?
Well, it's uncomfortable to, sleep
They were kind of tight. You don't want to sleep in tight pants.
But it was interesting because when she said something to the effect of, well, Brady's not even her type. I'm like, yeah, you don't think Brady's good enough for your daughter. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't think you think Brady's a good enough,
Yeah, he's not going to college.
Yeah. He's not as cultured. He's not as this. He's like,
He's kind of awkward.
Yeah, and also I think he's Steve's son. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I'm like, I'm kind of, did Steve go to college? I mean, I think that she's not going to say it, but I don't
snotty.
think she. Yeah, I think she's a little snotty about it. To be,
Yeah, no, you're right. Sure.
I don't think she's going to say it out loud, but this whole separate thing that's going on with Charlotte and. She's working late now, and so she comes home, and this whole thing with Harry freaking out
Harry's so stressed out
about this party.
Yeah, they're making him,
they're making him Charlotte now.
They're making him kind of the neurotic dad thing. And it's like, oh gosh, he's trying to plan this fundraiser for Herbert.
And it's just weird. It's like, why would he be doing this? Like, I get that the writer's room, they said, oh, well, Harry's throwing this party for his friends or a bunch of lawyers. Like, well, that's not really established at all in the show. I didn't understand that.
I didn't
Thank you.
Catch that.
I would have to, I only know that from the writer's room. And he's throwing this party and he's roped Lily into helping him. And I just feel like he would have gotten someone to help him with this. He would not have been throwing this himself. And he's all neurotic about it. And then they throw in something else about you're having an affair with Mark Kasabian. He's having you stay out all hours of the night, 7:30.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is really weird.
That was really out of context. There was no context for that. It was
why?
Because Harry's never been a jealous person. And also this Mark Kasabian guy, Charlotte's not interested in him. He's like this older guy. No. I mean, that was weird. They just needed something for Harry to
be mad about, or freak out about, or for something for him to do. And then, Rock is over ordering and ordering pizza. And I mean, that makes sense, like ordering a pizza, but I had to order, food, all these different
Rock
places.
has taken over running the household.
Yeah.
Because Harry is so verklempt over this party and Charlotte, he can't handle anything. Lily could give a shit. And so Rock has pretty much taken over.
Yeah.
It appears. Oh, we forgot to say about Naya, just going back real quick, is that after having sex with this guy for the umpteenth time, after they do it, they get on their phones and start scrolling, and which she thinks is very refreshing.
Yes.
I guess that's what the kids do.
Yes.
And so she's scrolling through Instagram and she sees a picture of Andre Rashad with Heidi with the hats.
Yes.
And she's pregnant.
Yes. And it was so brief too. They really did not give the viewer a lot of time. No, it was so quick.
You had to I had to rewind it. It's like, well, what was that? What did she just see? It was
so quick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I hope everyone got that.
Yeah, but it was Heidi with the hat. I almost forgot for a second. I'm like, oh, is that girl? Heidi with the hat, pregnant. And it was, I thought that was very, because I didn't expect that, and it almost pulled me back in because I was so focused on, Naya's having a great little time, and it's true, and it was, she was the one on the fence about kids, he was the one, and of course a man. This is the difference between men and women. Was men can just have babies anytime they want with anyone they want and just go, and women, it's a limited.
Well, men have fertility issues too.
Yes, but I just feel like with men,
well, they can probably do it longer, obviously, but I don't know how good the sperm is after a while, but
I don't know.
I don't know, but
it's very painful.
It really shook her.
Yes, and then she kicks out Fabio.
Yeah,
looking
she
guy.
Kicked out Fabio,
and that was very painful.
Yeah,
and
So back to this. Okay,
Yes.
so then we finally get to the. First, before we get to the dinner party or the fundraising party, to set up a couple more things. So Herbert comes home one night and finds LTW basically asleep at her desk. And he's like, what's going on? It's 8:00 and the daughter just had Lucky Charms for dinner. And what kind of like, why didn't you make dinner? Why is it? And she's just like, oh, I'm so tired. I was up late. Her documentary is.
They want to make it into a series, which is a big deal, obviously.
But she's just super tired. And then she's like, okay, well, I guess since whatever the daughter's name is, ate dinner, I can go to bed now. So she gets ready for bed, and Herbert's just perplexed.
Yeah, he's beside himself because he hasn't eaten.
What's going on? Or what is he going to eat for?
Oh, my God, he's only an adult and can kind of figure this out for himself. But
you would think.
But yeah, and she's like, well, I was up late last night helping you with this fundraiser stuff, and I'm trying to do the treatment, and I'm exhausted. And so when they get to the fundraiser, people are asking about Herbert, like, where's your wife? And he doesn't want to make any remarks until she comes. And so again, he calls her, and then we're back in her.
She's asleep again.
She's asleep again. She's like, oh, hi, like putting on her shoes. So she finally gets there to Charlotte and Harry's house, and he's giving her a really hard time. Like, what's going on with you? You keep falling asleep. What's happening? What's happening? And so finally he just badgers her to death that she finally just says, no, I'm pregnant. This is why. This is why I keep falling asleep right before he has to go on and make
his remarks.
Now, so I don't know if I like this.
I don't like this. First of all, isn't she 50-ish? I mean, if Carrie and Charlotte are 56, I can see she could be maybe a little bit younger than them, but not that much. She's got to be 50-ish.
Would
she has
this
a
character
teenager?
Really want another child?
I know. Well, that was my first thought. My first thought was, there's no way she's going to want to have another child. And what, they're going to do an abortion storyline on Sex and the City?
Well, they had the Miranda storyline, but Miranda never went through with it, obviously.
Because realistically, I think that's what would happen. But they're not going to do that. So that means that she's going to have a baby? That's crazy.
I know.
That's absolutely crazy. I don't like that for her.
I don't like it for her either. And I heard the writers talk about it in the writers' room, like they wanted to give her something, like add something to her life. I'm like, really?
Why do they have to make it harder?
To her life? Her life's hard enough.
She's got 3 kids.
And she's already got this husband that's up in her grill every 2 goddamn minutes.
He's like a 4th child. He's very needy.
He's very needy. So I don't know how adding a child to her life is really helping her in any way, shape, or form.
It's not. I don't like it.
No, neither do I.
But then the other storyline that we have to set up too is so Anthony and Guiseppe, there's been 5 dates, no dick.
Yes, which is not gay at all.
Not gay at all. Yeah. So, Anthony will not invite him up to his apartment. He keeps coming up with all of these excuses. And Guiseppe is really perplexed. And we find out later when he talks to Carrie, I think, or is it Charlotte at the party?
I think it's Carrie. I can't remember who he's talking to about it.
I think it might be Carrie because Charlotte's busy like trying to find out if
Charlotte
Lily
and Miranda are like all over the place.
They're like detectives. So basically he tells Carrie that he thinks that Giuseppe just wants a green card because why else would this young hot guy want to be with him? And he even makes a reference to 90 Day Fiance. It's like, got crossover worlds here. And then he tells his theory to Giuseppe, and Giuseppe reveals that his mother was born in Buffalo. And has dual citizenship.
Yes.
So that's not the issue. And he really just likes him for him.
Yes.
So, okay. So now we have everybody here at this party, and like Miranda and Charlotte are basically following Lily and Brady's every move, analyzing their body language. And then they seem to think that they are in Lily and Rock's bedroom having sex. They just jump to this conclusion because they can't find them.
Yeah, but they think Rock's in there too.
Well, not if
At first, they think Rock's in there too.
But then they
see Rock walk by, and they're like, "Oh God!"
Yeah, they're in there having sex. They've knocked. There's no answer, and so they just barge in, and they're not there.
Yeah.
But Anthony and Giuseppe are behind the door with their pants pulled down.
Well, first you just see their like waist up, and you think they're just kissing, and then the camera pulls back.
What are they doing?
That was really funny because this whole storyline with Anthony has been really kind of blah. Like it doesn't, it feels very weird. It feels, Anthony with all the bravado and all of this attitude, and just all of this seems so weird, and it just didn't feel like, I think I understand a bit of it, but I just feel like he would be more direct with this guy of instead of like kiss goodnight. I think he would have been on the first date more like Samantha on a first date, being like, "What do you want?
Right.
Like, what's up with you?
What do you want?
What do you
from me?"
want?
Yeah.
Like, why? You're young, you're handsome, you're all these things. Like, why do I'm a 50-some-odd-year-old man? Like, what do you want from me? I feel like he would have been not so coy about things or shy or whatever it is. So, I found this whole storyline frustrating, but then that one scene was really funny.
Yeah, it paid off. It paid off.
It was so funny. And then the only other piece was Che. Che's getting back into stand-up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Toby comes in with a box of kittens, and they have a connection.
Yeah, they have a connection, and Toby is also non-binary. So, and Che is like, hey,
But how do we know Toby is, I guess, because
I know that from the writer's room.
Toby never said, hey, I'm non-binary too.
Again,
but the writer's
I think there was a sticker or something, but I don't know. I learned that on the writer's room.
They didn't communicate that well.
No, of course not.
But yeah, I love how Che basically has gotten back into comedy and is writing new material to impress someone.
A person.
Yes. So that they can invite them to a comedy show.
Yes, a comedy concert.
Whatever it is. But that was funny. Yeah, she tried to pawn one of the kittens off on Carrie.
And Carrie
wasn't really having it.
Yeah. Well, she can take one of those new kittens to her new place in Gramercy Park. It's huge.
Well, and I love how Che says now she's making enough money where she can now go back and pay for that expensive apartment.
Really? From being a vet tech?
She's not even a vet tech. She sits at the front desk.
Yeah,
a vet tech would be back assisting the veterinarian.
Yeah, that's like a minimum wage job.
Exactly. It is a minimum wage job. So, I don't know. I guess she's been saving her money, but
one of the people that I was talking to earlier today about this show agreed with me that this is so frustrating about all of this, that, a person working on comedy all these years in the pilot, and then they would just throw their hands up about comedy. It's so annoying. It's just so stupid. It's just like nobody who works on a career this long would just be like, I'm going to go work on a front desk and just give up. It's just, it's so dumb.
Yeah. Well,
anywho,
I thought it was a good episode. I remembered more of the fashions from this one. The fashions seemed to be
I really liked
elevated.
I really liked what Carrie wore when she met Kathy, the green jacket that was kind of like a bomber jacket that she wore. I liked that.
I liked the dress she had on at the fundraiser, the pale pink. It was really kind of elegant looking.
Yeah. There was a scene at the fundraiser where when Harry was getting worked up about Charlotte and how, Mark Kasabian loves you. And Charlotte's like, he likes blondes anyway. And so Mark's talking to Carrie, and it looks maybe like he's hitting on her. And he asks about her relationship. And then Carrie starts waxing poetic about Big. And, it was a great love and now it's gone. And then she's like, excuse me, I have to go. And then she just leaves. Yeah. And I'm like, what was that scene all about? Well, why did we need that?
I think they were trying to soften the blow from last week when she said, was Big a big mistake?
Oh.
because that was pretty harsh. And so then this week she's saying, no, we had a great marriage and he was a lovely man and it ended too soon. So I think that was her walking herself back, and that's why she kind of went silent and said, I've got to go. It was.
Well, it'd been nice if there was a little bit of context or buffer or something around that. Something. It just felt shoved in there.
Well, because he was talking about his ex-wives and I don't know.
But didn't it feel a little forced? A little shoved?
No, not really.
All right. But I just seemed so weird because I kept waiting for this guy either to hit on her or something to happen. I think that's weird.
I think that scene was put there so she could make this declaration.
All right. Well,
to clean up her very blunt statement from last week.
Okay. But do they mention that in the writer's room podcast?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I haven't finished it, but it would have been nice if that was more explicit. But maybe you're just smarter than I am, Brooke, because I didn't get it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I think you might be right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If I was writing a paper on this, I would steal that from you and use it because it makes a lot of sense.
That's just my guess. Yeah. But
it didn't make a lot of sense. Anyway.
So, yeah. Oh, and I loved Miranda. Miranda's clothes are getting a lot better.
Thank gosh.
She at the dinner party.
Since she left Che.
Yes.
She's dressing a lot better.
Yeah, sorry. She had on this orange dress that had like this pleated skirt where the pleats are really thin. And she looked really good. That looked good with her coloring, her hair color.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and Charlotte's dresses are always...
Charlotte's always so...
just perfect.
Miss Pearls.
Yeah.
Miss Pearls.
I wish I could dress like that.
Well, you need a stylist and thousands upon thousands of dollars.
I know, but where would I wear all that stuff to? Just around the house? No.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's wrap it up.
All right. So thank you for listening. If you enjoy our podcast, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe and also give us a 5-star rating and review. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Psych Legal Pop. We're also covering the season 18 of Sister Wives, which premieres August 20th. It's coming up. 2 weeks? 1 week.
1 week.
Oh, my God. Okay. So that is going to be, those episodes are going to be coming out on Sunday night. We're going to watch early. Hopefully Discovery Plus releases them early. We're assuming they will, but if not, we're going to have to change the schedule. But for now, we'll have it up Sunday night. And then Mondays, we will have in Just Like That for only 2 more weeks. Only 2 more episodes.
Episode 9, yeah.
And then we have our Sister Wives Rewind that comes out on Tuesdays. And we're just starting season 5.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Exciting.
Thanks for your support. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine. Give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.